The first scene of the film takes place on a big ocean. There was once a world in this sea. This is Mermaid Land. So, the story opens with a colossal ship. It had a considerable population. People used to travel here to buy seaside antiques. After that, they would market and sell them. The ship also carried a prince by the name of Eric. He also had a strong desire to assemble unique items. That's why he used to show up as well. The Moon Festival began today, a celebration honoring the moon. It's said that mermaids make their appearance tonight. Everyone aboard the ship was on the lookout for mermaids to capture. But Prince Eric was the epitome of virtue and nobility. He forbids that approach on everyone. A man constantly accompanied Eric, who was the guide in Eric's mother's eyes, and a parent figure to Eric. He tells Eric, "Look, Your Highness, you need to abandon all this. In case you were unaware, the other vessels are fishing or collecting rare marine life. Consequently, why should we settle for trifles?" However, Eric had to avoid these situations at all costs. The world under the sea is revealed after this. The undersea environment was breathtaking in its beauty. A world like that is impossible for us to even imagine. The ocean once had a king, who is also worshipped as a water deity. He is the father of 7 mermaid girls. He beckons his 6 female offspring to him. His 6th daughter wasn't present, however. That would be Ariel, the youngest. Here comes the king's crab, who used to be a crab. But he paid close attention to the king's every word. To locate Ariel, the monarch has now dispatched him. Ariel's crab friend had left to find her. Ariel had a soft spot for all things human. She used to travel great distances to pursue human things frequently. A little fish named Flounder was Ariel's other friend. That kept resonating in her mind. Ariel was a regular at sunken shipyards with a focus on human-related topics. She always carried her favorite things. A long-distance shipwreck has just come into view for her. The fish appeared just as she was going to enter the area, and warns her to stay close by. There are supposedly enormous sharks in that area. Ariel, however, ignored them and headed for the ship, where she encounters many things of human nature. Then a massive shark swims over. Assailants of Ariel. Ariel, though, was able to capture it in the net and then make her getaway. A bird was one of her companions. In reality, she picked up a fork on board. She visits her feathered pal and inquires as to its function. Even the bird was unaware of these details, but it reveals to Ariel that it is employed in combing hair. After hearing this, Ariel grabbed a fork and began comb hair. The crab then makes its way over. Who is it who delivered the king's message? What he tells her may surprise you. The Moon Festival begins today. The king has sent for you. On hearing this, Ariel plunged headfirst into the water and made it to the king's meeting. A sea witch can be seen here in the ocean, whose tentacles were as long and thick as those of an octopus. What had been keeping tabs on Ariel? At this time, Ariel visits her father, where her father's wrath was at a fever pitch. "When did you get back?" Ariel admits to him that she is perusing human possessions. The king, aka her father, was enraged upon hearing this. "I don't get it," Ariel says to her dad. "Just tell me why you think people are so awful. The majesty of their world is astounding. They're wonderful human beings." The truth is that Ariel's mother caused the extinction of the human race. Because of this, her father grew to despise all people. The king now informs her of the following: "You will avoid human-related topics in the future." As soon as she heard this, she stormed out of there. The king was well aware that Ariel would ignore his commands. That's why he sends the crab in Ariel's direction, to look after her properly. As her temper flared, she went to her bedroom. There, she amassed a large number of human artifacts, and whichever vessel went down, or objects originated there and then washed away. So, Ariel once utilized this space to amass her collections, which was filled with books, buttons, money, and more. She had a lifelong fascination with the human race and wandered the streets aimlessly. And that's why she thinks she's hearing explosions above the surface. Ariel looks up and notices, and suddenly she spots a massive spacecraft, in which the participants were lighting off fireworks. Prince Eric's ship was unlike any other. The sight of these things brings great joy to Ariel. She's impressed by how many modern conveniences humans enjoy. The truth is that Eric and his pals were having a party on board. Eric, too, was enjoying himself along with the others, the former caretaker who lived with him. As he tells Eric, "You are a royal, please refrain from such behavior." But Eric didn't give a hoot about any of that. Ariel is also a fan of his voice. Then she approved of Eric's reasoning, that he truly is a wonderful human being. Then Eric and his friends find out, and the rain begins to fall. The ocean also featured extremely swift waves. They could have capsized their ship at that speed. Because of this, people suddenly start abandoning the ship in droves. They solicited little boats in which to ride, and get them out of harm's way from here. They also had a burning ship. Except for Eric, every passenger departed the spacecraft. When he begins to leap with joy, then he discovered that his dog had yet to leave the ship. So now he's trying to find a way to save his dog. So, a wave from the ocean came rushing in. The ship he was piloting broke in two and Eric is lost at sea and drowns. Even Ariel could see what was going on. Eric dove into the choking depths of the water. There, Ariel steps in and prevents certain death. He was in the water, but she rescued him. She had finally encountered a human being. It was her touch that he felt. She comes to his aid and helps him reach the land. Eric had passed out. She was attempting to awaken him. Her animal companions were right there. They maintained constant communication. That the king will not learn of this from anyone. A human life has been spared thanks to Ariel. Ariel was attempting to awaken Eric at the time. Not only does she sing, however, palace security soon arrives, who travel to look for Eric. In the morning, as Eric wakes up, the guards arrived and dragged him away. He overlooked Ariel, but he knew a girl had been the one to save him. The sight of the guard caused Ariel to flee as well. The water witch could see everything going on as well. It was shown to us in the prologue that she had maintained vigilance on Ariel. She was working toward a significant goal. Here comes Ariel. After interacting with the human, she felt even more disoriented than Eric did, and she desired to join the human race. She continues to wait for Eric daily. Perhaps one day he will swim over to where she awaits him. Eric, on the other hand, was a patient. Eventually, he recovers and visits his mother, which woman reigned as a queen. His inquiry was directed at his mother. I almost drowned that night but heard you found the girl who helped. His mother has told him that this is not the time. We will locate her, though, very soon. Son, though, you will also need to sleep. But Eric insists there's no need to worry, I'm okay. Finding the girl who rescued my life is all that's left to do. We need to meet up. In addition, Eric suspected that perhaps she is a mermaid in disguise, who ultimately ended up being his lifesaver. He would regularly visit the shore to locate Ariel. He, too, is boarding the vessel. If he ever risked his life again, he would die. If that's the case, the mermaid will undoubtedly come to rescue him. Even Ariel became disoriented while swimming. Her sisters were busy retrieving the sunken ships from the water. A ship like that belonged to Eric. When Ariel is in this area, she avoids her sisters. Now even her father had reason to be wary of her. The fact that Ariel has developed feelings for a human. The king inquires about Crab. In addition, he was honest that, indeed, Ariel did help a human being in need. The king was furious upon hearing this. His influence was far-reaching. He destroys Ariel's human possessions. Ariel was constantly interrupting her father. However, he never says no. Ariel was devastated by what she saw. And then that witch appears again, who had been watching her and who had informed Ariel. Which means I'm your aunt. I'm famous as the Sea Witch, as they call me. But I understand your needs, if you're after the work. If that's the case, we'll need to arrange a meeting. Now, Ariel has visited the witch. I know that you adore a human, the witch cries. And they're eager to join the human race. Let me lend a hand. However, there is one thing I ask of you in return. This is a condition I suffer from. That I will make you a human being. I can provide you the means to get around. You have 3 days to return before further action is taken. And then you should tell that person how you feel. However, in exchange, I will need your speaking voice. If you don't let that person know how you feel about him. If that's the case, you'll be stuck with me indefinitely. After learning of the plight of so many witches, Ariel became fearful. Her return begins in earnest. This prompts the witch to remark, "Okay, please leave me alone, I'm done talking to you, and spend the rest of your life with your dad, who refuses to allow you to interact with people." As soon as Ariel hears this, she swims back to the witch, and she was prepared to hear anything. The witch is about to cast a spell on her. She begins by enclosing Ariel's voice in a locket, and slings it over her head. As a result, she changed Ariel's water fairy form into a human one. Now fully human, Ariel had a new perspective. As a result, she had a hard time maintaining her buoyancy. She swims up to the beach. This whole thing was the witch's plan all along. She planned to kill King Triton, Ariel's father, and rule the waves as a queen. During the time that a fisherman was using the spot, he catches Ariel in his snare. The fisherman couldn't believe his eyes when he saw her. Not to worry, he tells her, "I'm going to show you my queen, who will look after you well." When Ariel finally laid eyes on her feet, she was overjoyed. Her animal companions visit her there. That Ariel is no longer a mermaid was also common knowledge, but now identifies as human. The fisherman now presents her to his queen, who happened to be Eric's mom all along. Where Ariel receives exceptional care. She has been cleaned up and dressed. She was overjoyed to finally join the human race. Over there, her voice may be heard. Poor girl, she couldn't even speak. With whom she made a deal with the witch. When Eric finally arrives to meet her, she did not expect to see him again so soon. However, Eric failed to identify her. Eric shared these feelings for the girl earlier on, who has arrived at his palace and rescued him. But Eric says to Ariel upon seeing her, "It's fortunate that you weren't killed. Life in our palace is comfortable for you." Ariel was too embarrassed to tell him. However, it was she who ended up being his savior. After Eric has left, the crab then approached her, who advises her that in 3 days' time, you owe it to your sweetheart to be completely honest. If you try to leave the witch, she'll trap you with her forever. After hearing this, Ariel walks out. Now, when she first encountered the human race, she was on a mission to see everything. A palace explorer, she was out and about. She entered an area where Eric had stored priceless relics, many of which he had carried in from the ocean. A mermaid is also visible to Ariel at that location, but now it was safely back where she'd found it. Eric frequents it, too, who then began demonstrating items to Ariel on his own. Ariel presents him with a diamond she found by smashing a rock. Even Eric was in the dark about this. He also exhibits Ariel's world maps of various nations. Upon first glance, it appeared that both have settled into a blissful domestic partnership. In the meanwhile, Eric's caretaker arrives, who is inquiring after witnessing his joy. Do you want to continue looking for the person who saved your life? Eric affirms, don't forget about her, and a rider is required. The search for her has become personal. Eric was provided with a horse-drawn carriage. He brought Ariel along with him. Ariel had the horses out for a joyful ride on the beach. They arrive in a small town, locations where Ariel experiences numerous firsts. Eric and her dance together as well. Also, she had gotten him a new headgear. Eric and Ariel were out on the water late at night, and planned to show her around the ocean. Animal companions of Ariel were present as well. When did you hear that now is the time? Ariel needs to tell Eric how she really feels, due to the fact that they adore one another. Ariel and Eric kiss. Once she becomes human, she can stay with Eric indefinitely, and she can forget about seeing witches altogether. When they go out on the boat, they have a great time together. The witch then uses her charms to steer the boat. Both of them made it. However, the witch was now curious. Whence do they draw such nearness? When Ariel's father is with his other daughters in the ocean, he asks them, who has seen Ariel? In any case, nobody had any idea. Ariel's human world search was joined by her sisters. The two of them returned to the palace. Eric's guardian, upon witnessing his joy. To paraphrase, you could have discovered the one if you've been trying to find, whom you can always count on to make you smile. No, I don't think we should go after her. Eric's heart, however, remained unsatisfied. His desire to finally meet her remained strong. He leaves for the beach immediately, and he starts to inquire as to who spared his life. Then a young woman emerged from the mist and sat down on a nearby rock. Eric is convinced that she is the one who rescued him. He transports her there personally. The following morning, Ariel is woken up by her animal pals who say, "There's a lot expected of you today. The workload is heavy. You should tell Eric how much you care about him." Ariel hastily dresses and visits Eric now. But yesterday night, he was with the girl he had found. "I love you," he was telling his mother. "I literally owe my life to her." That girl's neck was adorned with a gleaming locket. Ariel was devastated by the news. And it's a long way from the royal residence. One evening, her avian pal overhears the song, which was definitely Ariel's voice and not someone else's. That came from inside that locket, in which the female who met Eric the night before was dressed. She was obviously a witch and nothing else. Who is this stunning young woman? Ariel's friends have heard the news and have come to comfort her, and tell her everything, insist that obtaining your love is worth it. If not, the witch will triumph. In that case, you'll never be welcome in this place as a human being. Ariel, upon hearing this, returns to the royal residence. Eric and the girl were set to get engaged in the palace. Do you genuinely adore this girl? Eric's mother probes. Because up until yesterday, you two seemed extremely content. In fact, I have no idea, Eric says. So, what gives? After that, Ariel's pals show up. They had attacked the witch girl. Ariel is the first to remove the pendant, wherein her singing was stifled. When I first heard her voice, I am the girl who helped save your life, she informs Eric. The witch showed up in her true form as well. She uses her massive tentacles to assault everyone. After Ariel's transformation into a mermaid, she ended up returning to the water. Ariel's dad, the witch, informs her, came to the sea, that she made a deal with me, including your daughter. A binding agreement that cannot be terminated for any reason. It's up to Ariel's father now to rescue his daughter. The witch and he strikes a bargain. The king had been magically murdered by the witch, and she steals his enchanted sword as well. The witch achieved her goal. She fancied herself worthy of being the ocean's sole monarch. This accomplishment of hers, she intended to murder Ariel. At that point, Eric arrived to rescue Ariel from the ocean. However, she is now performing spells on herself. She had also transformed into a massive octopus, which dwarfed the ocean in size. On the same ship, Eric was also dangling. It was Ariel's intention to save Eric. The witch was attempting to kill Ariel in a variety of ways. Riding high, Eric takes a seat atop a mountain. Ariel, who was standing near the craft, she tacks the ship around and boards the witch. That was the end of her enchantment, and the story concludes with her normalizing into human society. Ariel's father, King, was still alive after the witch's demise. Ariel also brings her father's magical weapon. But now, she never brings up either her or Eric in conversation, since her father had sacrificed himself for her. Additionally, Eric swims there and frequents the shore. To his mother, of course, that he must travel deep below the ocean to get Ariel. His mom, though, informs him otherwise. You're just a regular guy, this can't happen to you. She is a mermaid, after all. She seems to be deep inside her head. Ariel's dad checks in with Crab to see whether he did a good job. If everything is going well, so why is my kid crying? The Crab tells him that the news of his daughter's joy. Does existence include humanity? And she's with her soulmate, Eric. The king hears this and decides to turn Ariel into a human. Until Ariel arrives, Eric had to wait. Ariel transforms into a person and reaches out to Eric. To put it simply, they run into one another. This will be the end of Ariel's human phase. They have their wedding ceremony in the palace. They were set to explore the globe. When Eric visits his mother, he says goodbye-bye. Eventually, Ariel gets to meet her father. I was mistaken, her father told her. Obviously, not everyone is evil. We merfolk will now integrate into human society. When she hears this, Ariel is overjoyed. They leave joyfully for their trip later, which was their trip around the globe. This marks the final scene of the film.